Hi crafty friends, it's Tracy Hines, aka Nanner Bananer. All aboard! In this video, I'll show you step by step how to create a soft covered Victorian junk journal for my brand new series, Train to the West, a Victorian Junk Journal. This series is full of vintage trains, antique ephemera, and old world charm, perfect for junk journaling, memory keeping, and creative paper crafts. If you love vintage junk journals, trains, ephemera, or Victorian inspired crafting, this tutorial will inspire your next project. And don't forget to stay tuned for part 2, where I'll show you how to make a hardcover journal. All right, guys, so this is basically the base of what the soft cover journals will look like. There'll be a one signature journal. I make these for craft fairs mostly, and I do use these as planners a lot of time for my monthly planners. They have one signature in them. They usually have about, I put like 15 pages, so times 4, that would be 60 front and back pages. So technically you could probably get 2 months out of them. But this one will end up having some lace trim down the side, a dangle, and a closure. But today we're just going to construct this part of this journal, and we will work on the other elements of it as the month goes on. Tomorrow's video will be the hardbound journal. I've got 4 leather bound books that kind of go through train travel, going out west, that sort of thing. So I'm going to turn those into journals as well. I'm only going to have 2 kits available on my Ko-Fi this month. Those will be released mid-month for this journal. I just did not have enough materials and stuff like that to make as many kits. And that's going to be the case as different months. I'll have more items than others to make kits to share with you guys. And I wish I could do as many kits as you guys wanted, but unfortunately, I'm basically, each month when I pick a theme, I don't want to have leftovers at the end of the month. That's why I do a wrap party at the end, and I do a giveaway of 1 journal, a giveaway of an ephemera pack, and my leftovers. And in like this case, I'm not going to have any extra leftover material to put in that particular pack. But definitely, if you've not subscribed to my channel, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any part of this series. And there's also other series from previous months that we've done that you might want to check out. I've got them arranged in playlists, but I would love to have you join our family. So let me get started. You guys are probably tired of hearing me talk. Okay, so these journals are made from my never-ending supply of these 10 by 13 envelopes that I get from work, and it's not junk mail, but we no longer use paper in our office. So when we get these, normally we would send back documents in them. But since we're electronic now, we end up shredding these. And I was like, hey, do you guys mind if I take all the return envelopes? There's no pertinent information on them. And they're like, sure. So I use them for my monthly soft cover junk journals. And it's a way of repurposing something that would have ended up in the landfill. That's one of the things I love about this hobby. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is put some glue down on our envelope so we can get our material placed. So this is the material that we're going to be putting down, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this up first. This is a very easy, simple journal to make. If you're a beginner, if you've never made a journal, you'll be able to do this. That's one thing, my kits will come with everything you need except glue. So you'll just go buy some Fabri-Tac and some scissors, and you'll be able to make yourself a junk journal. I also include the first 10 ephemeras and the first 10 ephemera items that we make for the journals in the kit. So you also will have, especially in a journal this size, things to put in it to add interest, that sort of thing. And anything after that, though, you would have to source your own materials, because I do. So my first week is constructing the journals, and then the next 2 weeks is ephemera. That third week is wrapping up anything that needs wrapped up, like the dangles, the tassels. If I want to make charms for the journal, any last minute embellishments that I think the journals may need, things like that. I'm so excited for this new series. Got all my items pulled. I did that video yesterday, so you can see some of the items we're going to use. I still have items coming, and I will do hauls as I get those in and show you some other items that we're going to include in the journals. These journals would be good if you've got like a model train enthusiast in your family. This would make a cute journal for them. And I also want to mention I have a digital kit on my Ko-Fi page. It's Tracy Hines, aka Nanner Banana. And even if you obviously don't have the exact material I have, you could use a different material. And with that digital, have just about everything you'll need to make the journal. Make sure that I've got enough of an edge on this here. Okay, I do. Just want to press that down really well. This material is vintage upholstery fabric that I found at a thrift store here in my town that has a booth that just specializes in vintage fabrics. It's one of my favorite thrift stores to go to when I need to source material for a journal series. She has so many neat vintage fabrics. Okay. Deciding if I want to trim that down any more. You really only need about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch around the envelope to glue down. The more you have, you need enough to have a little bit of an edge inside, but you don't want to have so much that you create bulk. All right. Also, something I wanted to mention, the ephemera that I make for these series, just because my theme is Train to the West, most ephemera translates. So even if you're not doing this type of journal, it's worth it to watch just to get ideas for making ephemera for your journals, and then whatever your theme is, just make the focal points and things like that for your theme. I love ephemera videos, embellishment videos, because I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm working on a journal, you start feeling like you're making the same thing over and over, or like, oh, I can't think of a good thing to make. And by watching a video on how to make something like that, it'll spark your inspiration, and you'll end up making something that you love. I do use Fabri-Tac for this. Depending on the type of journals I do, sometimes I use PVA glue, but this is a really, like I said, it's more like an upholstery fabric, and I need a glue that's really going to hold. The PVA glue on thicker fabrics tends to soak in. Another recommendation, we won't be doing this in this video for the sake of time, but I would, if I was doing this off camera, do this step that I'm doing now, put it under a heavy book, let it sit overnight so the glue completely dries, and then sew. But because for the sake of showing you guys what to do, I will go ahead and sew, and I'll just use an alcohol swab to clean my sewing machine to get any gunk off the needle and not gunk it up. This is one of my favorite parts of making journals, is doing the covers and making the embellishments. Doing signatures, I'm still, I feel like that's the hardest part of making a journal, because I like the journals that have where no page repeats, every page is different. So that's what I try to do. And you can imagine, you know, in a journal this size, even just picking out 15 different pages that coordinate with the theme takes a little bit of thought. And then like the hardbound journals I'll be making, they're going to have more than just one signature. They'll have 3 to 5. I haven't decided yet. And so just multiply that out. You know, you start finding yourself needing to find a lot of different types of pages for signatures. That's why I'm always, when I'm thrifting, or if I go to a live sale that one of my YouTube friends is having, I'm always looking when they sell paper packs and things like that, paper and materials that I think I can use in signatures. Everything else I feel like you can source before a project. Like if you know there's a theme you're wanting to do, you can purchase a book off eBay or Etsy or thrift it. And you know, that's one item. Same way with material for the spine. You can find or coordinate a material pretty easily, but having pages on hand for doing the signatures, I think it's a worthwhile thing. Even if you don't have a lot of space to store your craft supplies, it's worth having a tote or a container with those type of items to have those on hand. I think most of us, when we find a new hobby, we start acquiring items for it, and then over time we think we find better ways of doing what we're doing. And I have found that for me, I am going to get myself down to where I'm sourcing pieces for projects as I get ready. Like I'll pick themes out and then I'll start curating items for those themes versus just buying thrifting and buying items that I think, oh wow, that'd be neat to do a junk journal. Like I'm going to be more intentional about it. Like, you know, am I definitely going to do a journal series like this, or am I just getting this because it's vintage, it's old, it's neat? That's just me though. I've been making journals on and off for 10 years. In the last, I'd say 3 to 5 years, I've been more consistent with them making journals. Before that, I taught art classes, and but once I found this hobby, I used to sew and make quilts, I used to knit. Once I found this hobby, it's sort of taken over. This is pretty much the only hobby I work on now. Okay, so we have our pillow ticking down, and I'm using that as the spine, as you can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew around the journal like I did here. And then I'll sew around the scrapbook pages and get those glued down, and we will be done with the construction of the base of this journal. Let me move my sewing machine over. So for the stitch I'm choosing to use, I'm going to do, it's number 25. I have a Brother SQ9185. This is my second one. I had my first one for about 7 years, and then I got this one, but they're from Walmart. I really like this brand, and it has a lot of decorative stitches for doing junk journaling, and when I did quilting, it gave me lots of options. So that's stitch number 25. I just typed that in, and it comes up that the stitches are 1.0 apart, and then the width is 0.5. I'm going to go ahead and make that 2.5 for the distance, because I don't want my stitches to be super tight. I want them to be a little bit wider, because I think that looks better. Okay. Oh, sorry for bumping the camera there. You'll be amazed at when you add the scrapbook paper to the inside how much this cover becomes rather not, I mean, it's still a soft cover, obviously. There's some flexibility, but there's also structure to it. You could also use like a cereal box, something like that. It doesn't have to be an envelope. The dimensions I'm using, though, are the 10 by 13 folded in half, if that gives you a point of reference if you have another item besides an envelope that you're wanting to use. Hopefully that helps. Okay. So I've got that also sewed down. I could talk. A little more glue right there. Okay. Now I'm going to sew around the scrapbook pieces that'll go on the inside of the journal. I just love this paper. It says Chicago North to Western Railway. This is a paper studio pack from Hobby Lobby if you're interested in getting the same paper. Okay, so this time I'm going to do a straight stitch. That's from on my machine. That's 0.1, and I make the width at 3.5. these in and we will be done with the base of the softcover journal. Again, we do have a few more things to do to it. We're going to put some pretty decorative lace on the spine. I'll make a tassel, and there will be a closure that we will show how to do later in this month's series. All right, so let me get those put in here just like this. Also, if you're making one of these yourself and you're using your own materials, I cut the scrapbook paper. Scrapbook paper comes in 12 by 12. It is 9.5 by 6. So you can use one sheet of scrapbook paper to get both the front and the back to this softcover journal, which is nice. Anytime fewer supplies is always nice when making journals. Since this is not physically sewn into the cover, I like to take my time and make sure that I glue this down very well. The Fabrifix is an excellent glue choice for making journals. So is PVA, especially paper to paper. It also works for material to material, but with this being coarser upholstery material, I personally would use Fabri-Tac. That's just my suggestion, but if you have a glue that you love and works well for you, definitely use what you like and what works well for you. But for anyone new, Fabri-Tac can do everything. I use 3 different types of glue in my journal making: Fabri-Tac, Yoo-Hoo glue stick, and then I also use PVA glue. You can get all those on Amazon. You'll need a good pair of scissors. I'd recommend 2, one for paper, one for fabric. You'll need a trimmer, which is basically a paper cutter, and there's lots of different ones. They all do basically the same thing. You will find, just like with anything, there's some tools you like better than others. Everybody has their favorites. And yeah, there's not a whole lot to this hobby, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You can make junk journals out of recycled materials. There are lots and lots of video tutorials on YouTube by lots of creators. So if you are just happen to come across this video and you think you'd like to try making these, definitely subscribe, hit the bell. That way you don't miss any of my content. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I love talking with you guys, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have when it comes to journal making. And how do you use these journals? People use them for different things. They can be used as what I would call a traditional journal, just writing down your thoughts, what your day was like. They can be used like a notebook to keep lists. They can be used like a planner. They can be used like memory keeping. And they can also be used as a combination of all those things. I use mine as a combination of all those things. Mine works and functions like a planner, but anything and everything that's going on in life you'll find in my junk journals that I have for myself. All right, so we've got these glued in. I will, after I turn this video off, go put this under a book to finish drying. But as you can see, that was pretty easy. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment. I will get back with you and answer those. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already. Keep it cute, keep it crafty, keep making something out of nothing. Bye!